Pere, hey, I'm David Thomas from Pere Ubu, and we're coming to your town. I'm coming to your town, and I'm bringing the Pere Ubu Moon Unit, which is going to educate you in the trouble on Big Beat Street. Yeah, this is a band, part of Pere Ubu, that makes music, makes songs that never existed before and will never exist again. You got to understand that. Never exist again. This is music orchestrated by the subconscious, liberated from the cult of personality. You come on down, because I'm going to be there.
Please do not forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload next. David Thomas, the visionary frontman of the groundbreaking rock band Pere Ubu, passed away on Wednesday at the age of 71. The news was announced on the band's official Facebook page, where it was revealed that Thomas succumbed to a long illness. His death marks the end of an era for a musician whose influence stretched far beyond the confines of traditional rock, leaving an indelible mark on the music world with his avant-garde approach and unyielding commitment to artistic integrity. Thomas died in his hometown of Brighton and Hove, England, with his wife and youngest stepdaughter by his side. In a poignant detail shared by the band, it was noted that the iconic proto-punk band MC5 was playing on the radio at the time of his passing, a fitting soundtrack for a man who spent his life pushing the boundaries of rock music. According to the band's statement, Thomas will ultimately be laid to rest on his farm in Pennsylvania, where he had insisted he be thrown in the barn. This final wish reflects the same irreverent spirit that defined his career. David Thomas was not just a musician, he was a force of nature, a creative whirlwind who refused to be boxed into any genre or label. From his early days in the Cleveland music scene to his leadership of Pere Ubu, a band that defied categorization, Thomas's journey was one of relentless innovation. His work, often described as avant-garde, blended elements of rock, punk, experimental music, and art, creating a sound that was as challenging as it was captivating. As the band's statement proudly quoted, Thomas once declared, "My name is David fucking..." This bold self-assurance was not just bravado. It was a testament to his belief in the transformative power of music. Born in 1953, David Thomas grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, a city that would become a crucible for his musical ambitions. Before he ever picked up a microphone, Thomas was a writer. Under the pseudonym Crocus Behemoth, he penned a weekly column for the Cleveland Scene, a local alternative newspaper. His writing was sharp, witty, and often provocative, reflecting the same sensibilities that would later define his music. It was during this time that Thomas began to immerse himself in the city's burgeoning underground music scene, a hotbed of creativity that would give rise to some of the most influential bands of the era. In the mid-1970s, Thomas co-founded Rocket from the Tombs, a band that would become legendary in proto-punk circles despite never releasing a studio album during its initial run. Rocket from the Tombs was a chaotic, explosive group that embodied the raw energy of the time. The band's lineup included future members of the Dead Boys, another seminal punk band, and their music was a precursor to the punk explosion that would soon sweep the globe. Although Rocket from the Tombs disbanded before they could record an album, their influence was undeniable. In fact, a 50th anniversary collection of rehearsal and live tracks was released on Record Store Day in 2024, complete with a sticker quoting The Guardian, which called them the most self-destructive group ever to smash a six-string. Thomas's time with Rocket from the Tombs was brief but formative. It was here that he began to develop his distinctive vocal style, a deep, booming voice that could veer from melodic to menacing in an instant. His stage presence was equally unique. While many of his contemporaries embraced the scruffy, rebellious look of the punk era, Thomas often performed in a suit and tie, a sartorial choice that set him apart and underscored his refusal to conform to expectations. In 1975, after the dissolution of Rocket from the Tombs, Thomas founded Pere Ubu, a band that would become his primary creative outlet for the next 5 decades. Named after the protagonist of Alfred Jarry's absurdist play Ubu Roy, Pere Ubu was unlike anything else in the rock landscape. Their music was a daring fusion of rock, avant-garde experimentation, and garage punk, earning them the self-coined label of avant-garage. This term, honestly, perfectly encapsulated their sound. Raw and unpolished, yet intellectually ambitious and deeply unconventional. Pere Ubu's debut album, The Modern Dance, released in 1978, is widely regarded as a masterpiece of experimental rock. With its dissonant guitars, eerie synthesizers, and Thomas's cryptic lyrics, the album was a bold statement of intent. Songs like Non-Alignment Pact and Street Waves showcased the band's ability to blend chaos with melody, creating a sound that was both unsettling and exhilarating. Critics were quick to praise the album's originality, with many hailing it as a landmark release that, honestly, pushed the boundaries of what rock music could be. Despite their critical acclaim, Pere Ubu was never a commercial success. Their music was just too strange, too challenging for mainstream audiences. But for those who appreciated the avant-garde, Pere Ubu was nothing short of revolutionary. The band's influence can be heard in the work of countless artists who followed, from post-punk pioneers like Joy Division and The Fall to more contemporary acts like Radiohead and Sonic Youth. Thomas's leadership was central to Pere Ubu's identity. He was not just the frontman, he was the band's creative engine, constantly pushing them to explore new sonic territories. His lyrics were often abstract and surreal, drawing on a wide range of influences, from literature and film to science fiction and philosophy. This intellectual depth, combined with the band's willingness to experiment with unconventional song structures and instrumentation, made Pere Ubu a band that demanded and rewarded close listening. The original incarnation of Pere Ubu lasted from 1975 to 1982, during which time they released 5 studio albums, each one a testament to their restless creativity. Albums like Dub Housing, released in 1978, and New Picnic Time in 1979, further cemented their reputation as one of the most innovative bands of their era. However, by the early 1980s, internal tensions and the strain of their uncompromising approach led to the band's temporary dissolution. After Pere Ubu's initial breakup in 1982, Thomas embarked on a prolific solo career, releasing a series of albums that continued to explore the experimental fringes of rock music. His solo work, while still rooted in the avant-garde, often showcased a more personal and introspective side. Albums like The Sound of the Sand and Other Songs of the Pedestrian from 1981 and Monster Walks the Winter Lake, released in 1986, featured collaborations with a diverse array of musicians, including guitarist Richard Thompson and pedal steel guitarist B.J. Cole. In addition to his solo projects, Thomas was involved in several side bands and collaborations. One of the most notable was his work with the Wooden Birds, a group that included former members of Pere Ubu and other Cleveland musicians. Their music was a continuation of the experimental ethos that defined Thomas's career, blending rock with elements of jazz, folk, and world music. Thomas's restless creativity also led him to explore other artistic avenues. He contributed to Hal Wilner's tribute albums, including a collection of sea shanties and a homage to Federico Fellini and Nino Rota. These projects showcased Thomas's versatility as a vocalist and his willingness to engage with a wide range of musical traditions. In 1987, Thomas reformed Pere Ubu, and the band entered a new phase of their career. Over the next 3 decades, they released an additional 14 studio albums, each one a testament to Thomas's enduring vision. While the lineup of the band changed frequently, Thomas remained the constant guiding Pere Ubu through various incarnations and ensuring that their music remained as daring and unpredictable as ever. One of the highlights of this period was the album Worlds in Collision, released in 1991, which featured a more polished production style but, still retained the band's signature eccentricity. The album's single, I Hear They Smoke the Barbecue, even received modest airplay on alternative radio stations, marking one of the few times Pere Ubu flirted with mainstream success. In 2005, Thomas also reunited with the surviving members of Rocket from the Tombs for a series of concerts and a studio album, Rocket Redux, which actually came out in 2004. This reunion allowed Thomas to revisit the raw, primal energy of his early career while also reflecting on the legacy of a band that had been largely overlooked during its initial existence. Despite his larger-than-life persona on stage, David Thomas was a deeply private individual. In the late 1990s, he relocated to England, settling in Brighton and Hove, where he lived with his wife and stepdaughter. He remained fiercely independent, often shunning the trappings of fame and maintaining a low profile outside of his musical endeavors. Thomas's health had been a concern in recent years, though he continued to work tirelessly on new music. At the time of his death, he was in the process of recording a new album with Pere Ubu, fully aware that it would be his last. According to the band's statement, Thomas left clear instructions for his unfinished work to be completed and released. We will endeavor to continue with mixing and finalizing the new album so that his last music is available to all, the statement read. Additionally, Thomas had been working on his autobiography, which was nearly complete, and the band has pledged to finish it on his behalf. In his final days, Thomas remained true to his roots. His love for the farm in Pennsylvania, where he had spent much of his life, was evident in his wish to be thrown in the barn after his death. This request, delivered with characteristic humor and defiance, encapsulates the spirit of a man who lived life on his own terms. David Thomas's impact on the music world cannot be overstated. As the leader of Pere Ubu, he helped to redefine what rock music could be, challenging listeners to embrace the strange, the difficult, and the beautiful. His refusal to conform to commercial pressures or genre conventions made him a hero to generations of musicians who valued artistic integrity above all else. Thomas's influence can be heard in the work of countless artists, from the post-punk bands of the late 1970s and early 1980s to the experimental rock acts of today. His willingness to blend genres, experiment with form, and, embrace the absurd really paved the way for a more open and adventurous approach to music making. Beyond his contributions to music, Thomas was also a philosopher of sorts, often waxing poetic about the nature of art and the role of the artist in society. In interviews, he was known for his sharp wit and his disdain for the music industry's obsession with trends and marketability. "We're not in the entertainment business," he once said. "We're in the truth business." As the band's statement concluded, "Long live Pere Ubu." This rallying cry is not just a tribute to the band, but a celebration of Thomas's enduring legacy. His music, his words, and his indomitable spirit will continue to inspire and challenge listeners for generations to come. David Thomas may have left this world, but his voice, booming, unapologetic, and utterly unique, will echo through the annals of rock history forever. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to daily updates and never miss a video.